Hi, y'all. Welcome in or welcome back to Salty Tarot. We like to get a bit salty and wet here, just like the Salish Sea. If you're new here, I post mostly collective love readings and I post them about once a week. The readings are timeless, so they apply whenever you find them, regardless of when they were posted. Today's reading will be a collective love reading, so let's dive in, get wet, get salty, and see what the energies are between you and the person in your heart. We're going to start out with the Alchemy Deck. Spirit, please tune me into the collective and the messages that they need to receive about their connection with the person in their heart or on their mind. Very, very quickly, we have fog and rotation. So just looking at the description for fog, it's kind of funny. So fog, disorientation, a funk, a lull. When fog is present, nothing is clear, not even the problem. So I was pulling these cards to see what the problem was. So that's kind of cute. I'm just going to continue reading the description. It's hard to orient oneself or to know where you're headed. A distinctly damp mood blankets the laboratory being the place where the alchemy takes place, so your life or this connection. Fog can be surprisingly pleasant as a counter to drama, and therefore it can lull us to sleep for long periods of time. With its cooling nature, fog is a natural balm for pain and trauma. Yet, this state cannot sustain us, for we long to see the horizon and our surroundings. There are two solutions. The first is heat. Think sweating, desire, confrontation, passion, creativity. If that's too edgy, the second and inevitable solution is time. As they say, the morning fog burns off by noon. The sun will be seen again. How much time you spend in the fog is yet to be determined. It suggests reaching out to a dear friend or mentor and avoiding just saying, I'm fine, when people ask you how you are, and sort of actually feeling into how you are. Rotation is the third last card in this deck, and it says the wheel monotony cycles. So an echo of the monotony message here. Rotatio is the great alchemical operation of the wheel. Through its circularity, it indicates that work performed again and again produces results. It reminds us our efforts are cumulative, not singular. Nor is the work ever fixed or finished. Rather, the alchemist rises each day to tend to the laboratory, to weave their work into the world. It is the epitome of the alchemical axiom, idem mutata resurgo. Although changed, I arise the same. This operation is expressed through images of the circle, the spiral, the Ouroboros, and the wheel. The Ouroboros is the snake eating its own tail in a lemniscate figure 8 shape. By its non-hierarchical shape, we are tossed back into the spin, just when we thought we had figured it all out. Though this stage can be frustrating and cause a fair amount of restlessness, it is at the heart of all spiritual practices. And maybe this is where I mentioned that while I was clearing the cards and shuffling the cards for this reading, the tarot cards, one of the first cards that I saw was the Three of Pentacles in reverse. And then I got I cut the cards, had them all arranged again, and I just got this very strong calling to flip over the top card in the deck, and it was the Three of Pentacles in reverse. And so the Three of Pentacles is about teamwork. In reverse, it suggests perhaps not being in alignment with each other. So it seems like there's some nebulousness that has maybe put there's confusion, or there's just sort of uncertainty about where you're at with your person or where you're at with each other. And a message here that the wheel will turn. So I'm sort of seeing this as like the wheel of fortune, in the sense of what goes up must come down. And so everything changes, Nietzsche. And so the fog, we have that message with the fog as well, that, by noon the fog will pass. So with time, the fog will pass. But you also have the option of, and it's interesting that the shapes here are like there's sort of a stippling effect over top of this card. And the circle is kind of off center, and then here the circle is on center and the lines are very clear, right? The web of the spider is very clear, the colors are very clear, and the colors are very centered. And those colors sort of tend towards those reds and oranges of passion, which echoes the message with fog. Sort of like you can see the colors here, but here they've crystallized into the center of the card. So if you choose to lean into the passion option for clearing the fog, confrontation, initiating a desire was another one. So definitely you can work your way through conflicts with desire sometimes because it's a shift in the energy, right? And sometimes things look different after you've shifted the energy. So yeah, so let's get some tarot and see what's going on with you and your person individually. Spirit, please bring forward the messages that the collective needs to hear about their connection with the person on their mind. I did pre-shuffle. I'll give it another little shuffle. Just because it's satisfying. This is the Tarot of the Divine, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Seven of Cups, that's coming up. Seven of Cups is confusion, and it did kind of come up slightly. It sort of looked like it jumped a bit, but I'm going to take it in reverse. So again, we've got that message of being in confusion or things being unclear, or perhaps maybe too many options. Two of Cups in the World. Three of Swords. Clarifier for the Seven of Cups, please, Spirit. Got the Hierophant in reverse and the Lovers in reverse. Clarifier for the Two of Cups and the World. King of Wands. Clarifier for the Three of Swords, please, Spirit. The Hermit in reverse. And a clarifier for the Emperor. Seven of Wands. Clarifier for the Ten of Pentacles. We have the Nine of Swords. Bottom of the deck, we have the Devil. So this is an interesting one. I know tarot readers often say, "Oh, it's so interesting," and it feels potentially patronizing when you're the person in the energies. Oh my goodness, kitty cat, what are you doing here? We have a black cat incoming. I don't think you should come up on the tarot table. There's not really a lot of room. Hello, Cassie. Thank you for gracing our reading, though. Okay, so I don't know where to start. Like, there's so much here. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So again, we had that confusion. The confusion is coming through as sort of like there could be too many options. There could be just sort of an energy of there's definitely a lack of commitment and you're out of alignment. But it's causing not just confusion but heartbreak. And whether that's your heartbreak or your person's heartbreak or both, I'm getting the sense that it's both, except that it's coming through very differently for each of you. And so it's possible that one of you has been keeping their options open, playing the field. And that's only your message if that's something you already know about. So if that's resonating, take that message. If not, then it's something you would already know about if it applies to your situation. Otherwise, this is just coming through as confusion and sort of just like too many choices, not sure what move to make or if, like, whether to make a move. And there could be a desire here of wanting to do things in an unconventional way. And if so, it's sort of like, what way? What would that look like? How would we get into alignment about that unconventional, if there's, like, for example, if you are drawn to polyamory, perhaps there are other people in the mix and you know about them and that's something that you are okay with and is part of your chosen way of being in the world or your person's, and maybe the other person is trying to grapple with that. If anything, I would say maybe you're more in those energies and your person is a little more like tried and true, boxy, like this is the conventional way of doing things and that's how I've always done things and how I want to do things in the future. With the corollary, of course, that if somebody has a very traditional approach to relationships and is not interested in polyamory, they're more likely to cheat, right? Does that track? I don't know. I guess there are ways to cheat within polyamory, of course, if you're not respecting the agreements you have with your partners. But in my opinion, I think that cheating comes up more in relationships that are very conventional, because to have a conventional relationship, you have to sort of sweep things under the rug a lot. Maybe you don't have to, but a lot of people do. And so you can have a conventional relationship, monogamous, but that doesn't involve sweeping things under the rug if you have it in an unconventional way, i.e. radical honesty and bringing things to the surface for clearing. But if you're not doing that, if you're sort of keeping up with the Joneses and following the, those sort of steps that are laid out for a lot of people from early years onwards, then, and if you've never questioned those things, then it's likely that there will be desires that come up along the way that don't fit into that box, and possibly a lack of no toolkit for how to manage those things when they come up, as they come up. And so that's where cheating can arise. Again, my opinion, take what resonates. But it does look like there's a question of commitment or a question of how to do the relationship. And for you, there's something has occurred, there's been some kind of heartbreak, there's been just like a very big setback, and it looks as if neither of you is quite processing or like in the energies of healing that setback. There's just kind of like a turning away from it, like an avoidance of that pain, or a lack of introspection, a lack of sitting with, things don't necessarily move on their own. They do with time, of course, as we saw earlier with the alchemy cards. But if they do as a function of time, then it's because it's like you've layered over it, that onion layer, and you kind of covered it over, but the pain is still down there. And it's down there until you unlayer and actually excavate the pain and bring it up into the light for healing by meditation or counseling, therapy, whatever your somatic work, whatever your chosen modality is. if you don't sit with your pain's still in you, and it can sort of manifest as dis-ease in the body. And then, so your person is coming through is just very blocked. Like they're committed to their take on things, and it's like they're not budging. They are feeling like they need to, and what I'm seeing underneath is they're feeling completely out of control. They are deep in their fears because there is an energy of you being their perfect 10, you being their everything, you being, them seeing long-term potential with you, but it's scaring the crap out of them. They're terrified. They're so terrified that they feel totally out of control, and so they're coming down with this very hard block of their feelings. And it's funny, they're very similar in their postures here, and I'm getting that this hammer is, it's meant to be fortifying the defenses, but I'm also getting that this is the tool for chipping away at that armor. Like here we have a sword that's like stuck into stone. Here we have a chisel that's like, what would that be? I forget what the word is. Not a hammer, but a bigger, mine's made of rubber, not stone. But anyway, this one it's like a proto hammer basically. And it's meant to hammer down these defenses here, but it's also, if you're hammering away, if something hard is hitting something else hard, you're going to chip away inadvertently. And it's almost like the subconscious, like I kind of often read this line as subconscious, the subconscious sort of urges and fears and feelings coming through, and it's almost, and I see this like resonating out. So it's like the Emperor, they've got the same circles around them here. Interesting. And so it's like, well, the Emperor's circles are very like placid, like he is in control. He has got a lock on things. He is not letting his feelings overcome him. This guy is like there's action, there's passion, there's like resonance, like, there's color changes in these circles suggesting that there's like movement and activity happening. And well, there's like barren mountains in the background of this card. There's like a lush forest, there's a train, there's like movement happening. His suspenders are down, suggesting that, things are not perfect, they're not over-controlled. He's like actively trying to fortify his defenses, and it's almost like by actively trying, rather than just being stoic, he's subconsciously kind of chipping away at those fears. And so, but the presentation right now is that boxy Emperor over-controlled energy. So that's how your person is coming through. May or may not be your partner. If it is your partner, then it looks like you're at some kind of impasse that is in the peak of the conflict right now, or the peak of the hurt feelings. And with your energy, it's almost like you feel like you have been very much in alignment with your person. You've been nourishing the connection. You've been feeling all the feelings. You felt like you were a perfect match, but you are now feeling like you need to let that go and move on. It's sort of like you're really wanting to not remain attached if it's not serving. So if you're not seeing progress, if you're not seeing some kind of action from your partner, I said it again, that's obviously happening for a reason. There are no accidents. So there's something that you feel like, you really feel like you maybe have been attached when it's run its course, or like you're not seeing what you like. Maybe you've asked them for a commitment, maybe you have asked that, maybe you've made suggestions of different types of relationship that you could potentially have with each other that, you feel meets your needs and meets their needs and would be this perfect alignment. But it's like you haven't given up, but you feel like you should, if I could put it that way. And it's almost like you feel like the mature thing to do would be to move on or let it run its natural course. But you might be, despite that, you might be super drawn in by them despite yourself, and like very attracted, feeling a lot of passion and like fiery attraction and sexual desire, not just though, like I get the sense that you feel like you are aligned and soulmates, and that energy is definitely here. We've got the Two of Cups, we've got the Lovers, although it's in reverse. We've got the Devil in terms of obsession, and we've got the Ten of Pentacles. So there's a lot of cards here that are, even the Hierophant in reverse, it's sort of like there is a commitment here that could be brought about, but for the time being, there's just a very, like, it's almost like, I feel like your partner, maybe I'm reading this as how they're feeling about the situation, like kind of an extension of their line here, but it's like they see the potential in this connection, and it just fills them with complete anxiety. Maybe it means that they would have to change their wandering ways. Maybe it means a complete lifestyle shift for them. Maybe they would have to move to a different place, or if they've been very used to sort of a footloose, fancy-free single life, maybe they are very attached to that and not wanting to let go of it, but they sense that there's something happening for them subconsciously, like it's in motion right now. And this Ten of Pentacles outcome, the sort of legacy, the forming a long-term bond, long-term commitment with each other, that is generative, fertile, fecund, productive, whether that be in terms of having, a dozen children with each other, or whether it be in terms of like being a power couple and creating art together or making a business together, whatever your jam is, that potential is very strongly there. And it's like there's anxieties that need to be worked through, and it's their work. They need to chip away at those fears and bring them up into the light. And I'm not seeing clarity here on whether they will do that. It looks like the outcome for the time being is that they're going to be in those anxieties for the time being. But let's get some channeled messages and see if there's anything that from their higher self they would like you to know. I did pre-shuffle. I'm just going to dive in so that we're not messing up cards here. So Spirit, what are the messages from your person, the person in your heart at this time? What would they say to you from their higher self if they... Oh my goodness, that's a lot of cards. We immediately have 69. We've got Sex with You and Have I Lost Everything? And then we have I Am Coming, Trust. So that pretty much feels like a confirmation of what's here. There's a lot of passion here. They're feeling it too. With the 69, there is that meaning to it, but that can also be like the yin yang. That can be the sort of soulmate energy, the perfect twin flame, perfect complement. So, and even kind of seeing it right now, maybe because of the positioning, is like that wheel that we were talking, like the rotatio from the beginning. So what goes up must come down. Like there is sort of like a passionate shift, like you're sort of poised on that precipice right now, I sense. And have I lost everything? That's confirming, like you may be in this energy of feeling like you need to walk away. You don't want to walk away, but you feel like that would be the leveling up, mature thing to do. And your person is just like, maybe these anxieties or fears, like at some level of their being, they're aware that you are their person, but they're shaking in their boots. And with I Am Coming, Trust, I'm seeing the 6-9 meaning of that. And so you can take what resonates there, but if, this together with Have I Lost Everything, it looks as if they want to come in for a reconnection, and they're not sure that you're going to be open to that. Maybe you're not sure that you're going to be open to that, but those energies are very strongly here, and I'm just getting like, I can see this little lightning bolt over here, and it's like the passion is very much coming through, like it's everything you would associate with passion is here. Like I can feel that fiery, anger, the like disconnection, and I can feel the sexual passion between you as well. It's like there's like a very potent spiritual too, like a very potent spiritual connection as well, like that connection on like every level, and it's like cycling, circling, and there is a balance here, but it's like within that sort of cycling, like that's the fog, that's the confusion, and it's going to take that one energy, that like beginning energy, the lightning bolt, like that Uranus, to shift it. And I do see a shift happening, but it is going to take like a little bit of like holding with that passion to get there, or time, your choice. So I hope that helps, and thanks for being here. Please do like, subscribe, leave a comment, put a lightning bolt emoji if you can find one in the comments. Actually, you could cut and paste one from my description. And yeah, here's my new outro line. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. May your inner salt freely flow. Bye!